Hey, welcome everyone to another edition of Anime Talk. This is our 30th episode. I thank you guys for joining us once again. We have a special guest with us tonight as well, so I hope you enjoy what we have to say and the topics we're bringing to you this week. But let's get started. I'm joined as always by Aeroblip.
Hey,
We're here to I guess it's the same as always. You can find us on Twitter at JoAnimated or at Aeroblip. There's a chat window on the right-hand side of the Ustream where you can also find us there. If you have any questions, feel free to use the chat. Send us a direct message or a mention on Twitter, and we'll try to answer you back. But this week we have a special guest. It's Baka-Raptor.
Hi everyone, Baka-Raptor here. In case you don't know me, I am blogging for almost 7 years now. The name is Baka-Raptor. My website is baka-raptor.com, baka-raptor.com. First time with these guys on the podcast, and it's a pleasure to be here.
And not just a podcast, you're actually live and streaming.
Well, in that case,
Yep,
yeah.
so, no need to worry about language or anything. People are pretty used to me and Aeroblip not being too polite at times.
I cuss every other word.
All right, but let's get kind of started with some news in the anime and manga sphere. So first up, there's a new social media site targeted just to otaku. It's only in Japanese, but it's called Wonder. Aeroblip, what are your thoughts? Should there be social media or social networking sites just for otaku, or is that taking it, or is that just kind of an odd niche site?
Well, it's not just for otaku. It's for anime fans, first of all. Second, it can't hurt. I mean, it's kind of funny to think about it because it's otaku. I wouldn't necessarily call them the most social people. So having a social media site for them is, kind of an awkward thing to do. I wonder exactly how much they're talking to each other. But I mean, if this is a way to connect people and somehow if this is being funded, like it just can't hurt. Like I don't see it evolving into a Facebook or anything, but it's fun, I guess.
So Baka, do you think that targeted social media sites are going to be? Is that something that you think is a great idea? Is it something that maybe is just too niche for people?
Well, who knows? It's like Aeroblip said, can't hurt. Um, I mean, there is some critical mass you do need to reach for social networks to be successful, and I really have no idea if it's going to get that far. I just know that I clicked on the link a little earlier today and saw a bunch of cool pictures. It's in Japanese, this particular website, so I couldn't really look too far into it, but I'm not sure how people interact with each other. But if they're just posting, pictures of their figures or cosplay photos or stuff like that, it's still cool. I mean, everyone likes to look at pictures, right?
Yeah. I mean, in a sense, it kind of works like, based on what I could tell, it seems like it's a mix of like Pixiv and 4chan, where essentially you post a pic and then you can comment, and I think you're commenting, I'm not sure. But like, it's how Baka said, it's just a bunch of pictures and then, you can somehow interact with other people, I think.
See, but I mean, if you're
So,
just posting pictures and stuff, it's like Instagram or Tumblr or
but
anything
there's
else
some
at
kind
that
of
point.
communication. I don't know how it works. Again, I had issues because I don't know the moon speak. But like, for based on what I could tell, it seems like, you can actually talk to other people. So it's a step beyond what's currently there, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. All right, yeah. So we'll see. Maybe it'll grow and become something interesting. Hopefully, it won't degrade into something more on, I don't know. Sometimes you never know what you're going to see. Hopefully, there's an R18 filter for those that don't want to be exposed to stuff.
Well, do we know who's funding this, by the way?
Wasn't this the one between Yahoo and SoftBank?
Oh, yes, that's the one you're talking.
Yes,
So,
yes. Yahoo and no, who bought Sprint? That Japanese company that just bought the Sprint telco. It's the same company, isn't that SoftBank?
I thought that was SoftBank.
Yes. So SoftBank and Yahoo made this.
Okay. Well, I mean, I just find, well, at least it's not government sanctioned. So I don't know, I
True.
was kind of thinking this is like, is this like a step towards, repopulating Japan? But I mean, hey, nerds want to get it on too, and this is if they can get them together, then by all means, make
True.
babies. Yeah.
The other kind of neat thing is that Crunchyroll has put up a online self-submission doujin site. So you can go to Crunchyroll Comics, and if you've created your own manga, you can upload it uh, to their site and have others read it, critique it, download it, etc.
Hmm.
So I think that's kind of nice, you know. It's I see it's a step in the right direction in terms of it being digital. You know, I think it
Yeah.
gives an avenue for people to get their stuff out there.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not much of an artist, but I may find something interesting to read.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the Western version of Comic Kid in a sense. Like, there, I mean, I feel like there's a large enough fan base in the United States or even just in the Western world such that people are going to be making their own things. And besides Crunchyroll, I've never heard of a site in which people can actually upload their own stuff. I mean, there's small things like Pixiv, or there's maybe some user-generated stuff that gets hype on 4chan, but there's never like an outlet dedicated to your own dojins. So, like, this is actually a pretty big deal if you think about it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Baka, do you are you much into the doujin side of manga, or are you mostly an anime guy?
Well, I'm mostly an anime guy, though I do, search for images when I'm going to write a post or something, and I do come across a lot of interesting dojins. I think this platform on Crunchyroll, it's always great to see a place for amateur artists to be able to put up their stuff and have it grab attention. I do a little bit of drawing for my side as well, and it's certainly not good enough to make it this far, but yeah, it is pretty cool, and I'm not gonna probably read any of these anytime soon, but hey, at least it's giving people a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely anything that encourages creativity and people generating something new, it can't be a bad thing.
Hmm. I mean, like the new trend these days are more like the indie underground stuff, right?
True,
And
it's
so,
kind
like, yeah,
of
this is
that's
like the best way for people like to get their voice heard or to
right.
like express what they want to do.
True, it's like a mangaka American Idol kind of thing. All right, so that's kind of cool stuff. But next up, let's get into some more of a meatier topic. So, with any good series, with any series that generates a lot of attention, you're probably going to end up with a movie. Now, how that movie is created in relation to the series can be interesting in the creative license that the director or writers take.
Hmm.
So my question to you guys is, should a movie take a abnormal amount or even rewrite the story, abnormal amount of creative license or even rewrite the story the series is when they create that movie? You know,
Hmm.
Baka-Raptor, what do you think? Is it something that's a good thing if they improve on it, or do you think that the movie should be true to the original series and its storyline?
Well, there are a few ways to look at this. One is that if you're going to do it well. And I've seen a couple of movies here and there that I think have improved on the series or at least added a new dimension that I like. And when I do watch a movie that's based off a series, I do want to see it add something new. Otherwise, you're basically just watching a really long recap episode. And I'd rather watch something new. Otherwise, I'm just wasting my time. So I think you can definitely benefit from adding new material or rewriting from scratch. Another thing that I like to see is establishing very early on that it is something new, because there have been a few times when I've seen a sort of series-based movie that starts off pretty much from the same point and then diverges somewhere in the middle, and that's just kind of confusing. It sends mixed messages, and then you have the issue of what's real, what isn't, which one is canon and what's not. So I don't really like it when it gets into that situation. But if you establish from the very beginning that this is something different, that this is something new, it can do well. And there are more ways to add something new to a series than to change the plot points. You can just take a movie, have the same exact story, just put in better animation, add some background information, things like that. So you don't really have to rewrite, but I do kind of like it because it does bring something new to the series that would otherwise sort of make the movie a little stale.
So Aeroblip, you went and saw the first two Madoka movies.
Yes, I did.
So in comparison to the series, do you think that the movies were an improvement, not an improvement? Do you think it just I don't know. Give us your thoughts.
Okay, so I just want to go back to Baka's previous point where if you're gonna make a movie, it better be designed as a movie. So there's a lot of times where, like say Teppen Talking Girl and Lagan, where you take the story and then essentially you just condense it into movie form. And while the story or while everything seemed good on paper, I guess for the anime form, you need to make sure that it works in the movie form as well. And I think Madoka actually works as a great example for that, both good and bad. So for the first movie, this is not spoilers anymore. For the first movie for Madoka, it was actually the first 8 episodes. And what I loved about it is that they actually streamlined the plot and it made it much more focused. I mean, granted, like by doing like I wrote a review about this on DesuX if you guys are more curious about this. But one of the things like I was worried about it is that you're taking the key cliffhangers that remember how every single episode ended, and you're essentially trying to put them all in the same line. So it prevents the audience from actually settling down, like sitting on an issue and thinking about it. But because it's more faster paced, it gives a sense of development that the anime series actually kind of lacked at times. It felt too slow or just wasn't getting to the meat and potatoes quick enough. The first movie, I should say, corrects that completely, where it's just bang, 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 plot point, plot point, plot point, and then Shaft being Shaft, of course, they add much more animation. Some scenes, actually not some, a lot of scenes were slightly retweaked. So maybe like there was different pans, like different angles, close up, zooms, like all that stuff. You can tell the first movie was completely redesigned to be in a movie form. The second movie, on the other hand, is what actually pissed me off and what Shaft is actually a classical example of a failure, where they then took the last 4 episodes and then tried to stretch that out into a movie that's 2 hours long. So essentially, you're taking the same half hour for episodes 9, 10, 11, and 12, and then you're just trying to expand it, lengthen it. And part of me is pissed by the fact that, it clearly didn't have the same touch-ups and like changes that the first movie had, but also the fact that that there's going to be a third movie, so you think they would actually try to wrap up or give some new developments and like tease you with something at least. And the only thing they gave us was like a trailer at the end of the credits.
Hmm.
So like I guess going back to the first movie, like the first movie, it was designed to be a movie. Like you can tell it was designed for 2 hours. The second movie, on their hand, was literally a recap, like the first movie, but it was dragged on so long where it actually hindered its development. So it doesn't. I don't think a movie has to rewrite it. I'd be happy if it did, because that's just more for the franchise. And if I'm a sucker for the franchise, I'll definitely eat up the movies. But as long as it's maintained true to its form, or the fact that it is designed to be a movie, that's the most important thing.
So now the picture I'm showing here today is from the Star Driver. It's an image from the Star Driver movie. It's coming up, and they did a preview recently, so you get to actually see a little bit of what the movie's going to be. And there's definitely some creative license taken in the fight scenes, just from the preview that we see. So in the series, all the fights take place in this mythical alternate or parallel universe type thing, this alternate dimension, which is pretty cool. It's interesting. Everybody stands in bubbles and watches. But it seemed like they kind of rewrote that a bit for the movie, just based on the preview that the fight is occurring inside of a cityscape. So I'm just wondering where they're going to go, how it's going to happen. Obviously, we're not going to know here for some time unless we get to see some sort of crazy cam rip. But it'll be interesting to see what they do with Star Driver, because Star Driver really struck a good chord with a lot of the crowd. It was a pretty good series. At first, you're kind of wondering what's going on, but as it progressed, it definitely ended well. So, well, it'll be a toss-up whether that's an improvement or a non-improvement to that series.
Well, I guess the first thing I want to know is this just going to be a standalone movie, like one movie, or do we know it's going to be a series of movies, kind of like what we see with Evangelion?
The preview I saw showed a fight scene that in the series was toward the end, or at least implied it was that fight. So
Okay.
I think it's the entire series in a movie,
Huh.
but I could be wrong. I need to do a little more research myself. I haven't done a
Well, I mean,
lot, but
there's only so much out there right now, because it comes out next summer, I believe.
I thought it comes out comes out sooner than that.
Huh.
I need to do some more research and take a look, but
But yeah.
So, moving on. Recently, gosh, my mind is moving. Anime News Network did an interview with Henry Goto, who is the president of Aniplex of America. I don't know if any of you guys have seen that out in our audience there, but it was a very interesting interview. So, Arablip, if you wouldn't mind taking a second to kind of summarize some of the key points there, and I guess there was a lot of little random stuff, but there were some definite key points he touched on during that interview.
Yes. So this interview, I believe it came out a few days ago. It wasn't very detailed. It was just the standard, hey, guess what? This is our stance on how we see things, and this is what we want to do. But There was some interesting tidbits that were like in that interview. I guess one of the biggest things that came up was actually their stance on like, I guess their current stance on how they view the market and how they want to distribute anime. And then one of the key things he mentioned, stupid ads on you at Ustream. Sorry. So one of the things that they mentioned was the fact that they're collecting or they're trying to figure out how to gauge merchandising. So there's a lot of there's animes. Some of them are Blu-ray, some of them are DVDs, some of them are the limited collector's editions. And essentially, he goes into the interview discussing, how do we survey the market? How can we tell what to pick up? First of all, how do we know what to pick up instantly? And it's kind of a nice read. There's a bunch of other facts as well.
See,
I'm just
okay,
go.
kind of go into that a little bit. I thought it was interesting how he distinguished where they see their market heading to. So I
Mhm.
saw him pick out two interesting items. One, that collector edition DVD, now Blu-ray discs are going to stay.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting that he thought that people, no matter, despite the price points, people are going to buy those shows.
Hmm.
So, Baka-Raptor, are you someone who collects, used to collect DVDs, but now collects the Blu-ray discs for your favorite series?
Not really. I bought a few DVDs back in the day, but now almost everything I do is streaming. I also, and I was a heavy downloader back in the day, but even now, I really download most of what I watch is streaming.
Okay, so to get to the second, to kind of combine that, his second option was we're still going to continue to try to stream stuff. So
Yep.
there's going to be this balance there where they're going for these collector edition discs, but they're going to see what they can secure for rights for streaming. So do you think that, from your opinion, Bach, do you think that's a good plan? Because knowing that these discs now, some of these collector packages are hundreds of dollars. Do you
Yeah,
think
I
do
mean,
you think that the streaming is going to be a supporting factor? Is it going to gut sales? What do you think that's a good idea?
it's really hard to say. See, I am really, really cheap, so I couldn't imagine myself buying, a collector edition. But if people are buying it, and they said in the article that it was like what 60% for what was it, Madoka or
Yeah, something like
Sixty
that. Yeah.
percent were like DVD, Blu-ray combo limited edition type stuff.
Yes.
yeah, if it's that successful, by all means, put it on the market. But I mean, it's not something that I've ever done, buying something like that. But if it's successful, go for it. I mean, I am glad to see that that it is profitable at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think you're right. I think there's a price point, at least especially in this current market, where you have to find something that is either cheap or free to show people.
Hmm.
I don't think that not everyone, and even then, if you're trying to reach an audience that doesn't have money, not everybody's going to be able to afford a collector edition, especially if you're trying to get that new person. Let's say you got some 10 or 12-year-old kid, he's caught onto anime, and believe me, kids can find stuff on the internet like nothing anymore. He finds whether it's Anaplex's website or Funimation, well, it'll be Aniplex, finds Anaplex's website, goes, hey, this is kind of cool. You may be the streaming may be that gateway, that advertising for buying some of that stuff later when this kid's 22, 23, and finally has a job that can afford it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But I thought
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. He doesn't seem to be going. He doesn't seem to be leading Aniplex down the same way Bandai did or
Well,
Bandai.
Bandai kind of had like a screwed up business model in the first place, but
Yeah, their idea of a business model was pretty convoluted, and they didn't understand the market forces that were coming down. I at least got the impression that Henry Goto understood some of the market forces that were taking place much better
Mhm.
than Bandai did.
Well, the key thing that he actually says in this interview is the fact that even though he's still responding to a Western audience, it's like it's still dictated by how fans in general respond to the anime industry. And so, how it works in Japan is essentially, um, I guess, broadcast companies they don't go out and buy shows, kind of like what happens in the United States. Instead, studios have to go out to them and then essentially pitch the show to them and then pay for that when then so essentially it becomes a giant advertisement for, hey, if you like the show you should go and buy like the DVDs and the Blu-rays later. And so like he tries to say that he like it's going to be this model, like the current model we see, it's going to stick around for a long time until what happens in Japan changes. Because like, I mean, yes, he does say that like streaming is becoming bigger and we all hope to get things for free, but at the end of the day anime is really expensive. And so there's a reason why they always put so much focus on like these DVD Blu-ray combos, and there's a reason why they're so expensive. It's
Yeah.
because like the key line he says here is that the anime industry is growing, but it's still tiny and not enough, right?
Yeah. Well, it's still
So
tiny, and there's indications it's not growing very quickly.
yeah. Well, I feel like it's not becoming more mainstream, but like the population is growing. But as far as the percentage of the people who are actually responding to this, like who actually want to go out and buy the DVDs and the Blu-rays, that's not changing.
I would say it's even shrinking.
Well, what people want to say that we're in a depression right now? I don't know.
I
Like,
don't. I think it was shrinking before the depression, though. I think as DVD and Blu-ray prices started to go up, and people had less, and as online streaming and even free downloads from uh, less legal means became more mainstream, I think there was just less of an emphasis to buy the DVD.
yeah. But I guess it seems like based on their model right now, what they know is that if fans like a series, they know they know that in order to support the studio, they're going to have to purchase the DVDs and the Blu-rays or the merchandise in general. Like that's just kind of a common thing right now. It's like if you want to support them, you're going to have to pay something. And when there's so many outlets to get it for free, like the merchandise will never become cheap. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, some people can watch the streams and like, if they thought, oh, this show is okay, do I need to buy the Blu-rays? I don't need to. I saw it once, I'm good. I mean, that's just how like the kind of media we're dealing with. That's how it works.
Yeah.
So, I
Baka,
mean,
any more
that's not going
thoughts?
to change.
Oh, sorry.
Go.
Baka-Raptor, any more thoughts?
Not really. Yeah, don't know much about the industry at all, and this was actually a pretty informative read more than anything else. Like you guys are all analyzing this from the standpoint of, what should they be doing, what shouldn't they be doing. I'm interested in like what do they do in the first place, and it was a pretty good read and pretty accessible to someone who doesn't know much about the industry. So if you don't know much about the industry, go ahead and read the article. It's a pretty good one.
Yeah, definitely. I thought it was a very short interview. He really kind of deflected any deep hitting questions, and the guy didn't ask a lot of deep hitting questions. But it's a quick read, and it's a lot of good information for those that are interested in how the anime industry works.
Yeah.
It's a good start to getting you down that path.
Hmm.
Yep.
So it's time for our weekly game.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
So competition is always between me and Aeroblip. So this week we are competing to see what shows we can convince Baka-Raptor to watch. So it's called the To Be Determined game or TBD game. Let me set something up here. So in this game, each of us will get 30 seconds to try to convince Baka-Raptor to watch a particular show. Aeroblip has picked 5 shows. I've picked 5 shows. We'll go back and forth. I'll start off, and I'll get 30 seconds to pitch my idea. So we'll try to what? Avoid spoilers, avoid particular plot elements. Anything else, Aeroblip?
No, that's about it. Oh,
Okay.
and Baka, of course, you're more than welcome to ask questions
Yes. So
Oh,
after the 30 seconds, it'll be Q&A time.
or during the 30 seconds.
Nah, how about after? Because if it's,
Oh, you're no fun.
I know
Okay.
he's trying to cut me short because he doesn't want to win.
Just saying, you got the better hand.
Yeah, hey, don't get started on that because you had your chance to get the better hand.
You
Don't let
have
Arrow
you
Blip
have the
fool you guys.
1992 Dream Team. I
well,
have
let me
the
just say
Chinese
this in
specimen.
advance. I think it's fairly even going into this based on what little I do know about these shows. And also, these are all shows from fall 2012. Since I actually haven't started watching anything from the season yet, I figured they'd all have their pick from this currently airing season.
True,
Yeah.
true. All right, so are we ready?
Go.
The first series we're going to talk about is Psychopaths. So here we go on our 30 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go. So Psychopaths is a show about a dystopian type future. It's very reminiscent of Ghost in the Shell. You've got a society that is trying to be ideal, much like your 1984 or your Brave New World. And it's all about this conflicts between science and emotion. It's got a character that's considered moe by some standards. And it's got a lot of techno thriller crime drama to it. It's a great show. I'm even got 2 seconds short here.
All right, I can go ahead and start asking questions
There we
now.
go.
Okay, so on the tech versus emotion side, do emotions come out winning? Because I kind of hate that theme when robots end up getting feelings and stuff. So how
Well,
does that tend to fall?
there's no robots. It's mostly against this computer that determines right versus wrong, essentially,
Hmm,
and
that sounds
versus
pretty good.
these cops and pseudo cops that try to determine a criminal more by the look and feel of things.
Okay. Is there a lot of tech type lingo? That's one of the things that bothered me when I was watching Ghost in the Shell. Way too much tech lingo that was thrown at us way too quickly.
No. I think it's a healthy balance between tech and emotion and philosophy.
Okay. And you said a pretty dirty word there, moe. How big is it? And
So
how
the
bad?
character that this girl character is voiced by Hanakana, and
Okay.
they let her blush from time to time, but it is not a big impact in the show.
Okay, I'll give this one a pass.
Bing!
As,
Yeah,
as in
I don't
it
have a
passed the
dinger. I'm
test.
sorry. Ding.
Psycho pass. Ha ha ha. All right, so 1 point for Joe.
All right, are you ready, Aeroblip? Your show
Let's
is
do this.
Jormungand. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, Jormungand follows the story of a child soldier who eventually gets picked up by a arms dealer who essentially travels around Europe and Africa selling, arms. Um, the arms dealer herself, named Coco Hekmartier, is a very eccentric yet intelligent woman, and her ragtag group of mercenary soldiers
10
go out
seconds.
and essentially they just, fuck shit up. It's supposedly in the same universe as Black Lagoon, and according to the manga, apparently Coco didn't meet, them.
Time.
That was time, man. Holy shit.
I tried to give you a 10-second warning there.
Yeah, but the Ustream lags. My bad. Okay,
7-second
go.
lag on the Ustream. I timed it out for you.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. First question: what exactly does the title mean, Jormungand?
Uh, I can't explain it without spoilers, but it is
Okay.
explained.
Okay.
You can give it to me. You can say it has to do with her special plan. How about that?
Okay, so in this again,
Yeah.
like
I'll just take your word for it. It's a spoiler is generally a good answer because it means there's some plot to it, and I am quite fond of good plot. You say they travel around different parts of the world. Lots of hilarious accent there.
wait, what?
There's some
Oh,
English. You're
oh
talking about
yes.
English and stuff.
You
Yeah.
get some English. You get a lot of English. I think in a
Awesome.
couple episodes ago there was some Arabic.
Okay, and the plot is it mainly episodic or is it sort of more continuous?
Uh, at first it starts out as episodic, but then there's after they introduce essentially the main cast, then there's an overall story that branches all the episodic together, essentially.
Okay, and is this currently on the second season right now?
It is currently on the second season, yes.
Direct continuation of the first one?
Direct continuation.
Okay, yeah, this one sounds good too. So a point for Airblip.
Ding
Yes!
ding. It's 1-1.
See, I'm not so bad.
No, not at all. All right. Going to the next show for me. Chuunibyou. If I said that right. I'm horrible at my pronunciation.
Yo.
So, are we ready?
Yep.
All right. So in 3, 2, 1. So Chuni is about a group of high school freshmen, obviously fresh in high school, where one of them has failed to get over eighth grader syndrome, Chuni syndrome. She makes friends with another boy who is trying to escape his Chuni syndrome as much as possible. He goes to a new high school and everything. And it's all about how these two interact, develop their friendship, and form a group of friends around them. Lots of slapstick, lots of fun, with some transformation magical girl stuff kind of thrown in the mix. And that's my 30 seconds.
Okay. So the first thing, you is there moe in this? Is it a big part? Because it sounds like it might be.
Uh, I am having trouble saying that. It's
No
not moe in
lie.
the sense of K on moe. How about that? It's more, or Hidamari sketch moe.
Okay.
But it is.
Um.
I would say yes. It's in the moe. If you want to pick the broad term, yes. But it's not K on moe. No.
Okay. Would you describe the series as slice of life?
Somewhat, but it has progression in the plot. It's going somewhere.
Okay.
It even introduces some traumatic things for the main heroine.
Okay. And what exactly is this magical girl stuff you're talking about? How big is this a factor in the show?
So I'm trying to think. So the girl who has the Chuni syndrome believes she is some sort of magical girl in essence, right?
Huh.
So when they do some of their pseudo fight scenes where she's, fighting good versus evil stuff, in her mind it's this grandiose magical girl fight, when in fact she's fighting with an umbrella and her sister's got a ladle, and they're hitting each other over the head.
Hmm.
So it's more of it's there as kind of the magical girl thing is kind of the That's her eighth grader syndrome, and they kind of play it up as kind of a joke.
Okay, well, doesn't sound like something I'd watch. 0 points for Joe.
Ah, that's all right. I can take it. All right, Aeroblip, you're up with JoJo's Bizarre Circus.
Adventure.
Is it adventure?
It's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
I'm wrong. Whatever. I was in a hurry when I typed this up. I was thinking something about bizarre. I don't know why. You know what? You spell checked me earlier, and you forgot to miss that. I forgot to correct that. All right, you ready?
All right.
3, 2, 1, go.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure originally started as a 1980s OVA, which now has a 26 episode, run. It's currently in the first core, so the first half. It's basically about a guy who, eventually has these awesome powers, kind of like Fists of the North Star, where he just beats a bunch of people up. His first nemesis was actually his adopted stepbrother, who turns into a vampire and then just decides to fuck up the world purely for the fact that he had a drunk dad who just beat the shit out of him every day. And that's the first half.
Perfect 30 seconds.
I do not need to ask any questions because I will definitely watch based on that description.
Yes.
1 point for Aeroblip.
Oh, that's funny. All right, next one up. So it's 2-1 Aeroblip. Oh, Moggy, that's right. So, are we ready? Let's do it.
Yep.
3, 2, 1, let's jam. So Moggy is based on the Arabian Nights plot. So the main character is a little boy who carries around a flute that can call out a blue, what's the right word for it?
Genie.
Genie, there we go. He helps a guy out who conquers a tower that lets him become rich and famous, and it's all about their adventures in relation to the 40 Days and 40 Nights. So they travel, they see different people, and they try to do good by the world. And I'm out of time because I stuttered through that. All right.
Okay. So exactly how closely does this follow the Arabian Nights? Is this like, an episode of story or what?
That I would not know, not having read the Arabian Nights in more than just more than just a cursory kids type book. So I would say it's generally within the general plot, but I would not say it's one story per episode.
Okay, well, I mean, it sounds like something that could potentially be good, but due to poor salesmanship by Joe, 0 points.
Yeah, I choked on that one. All right, Aeroblip, you ready? You've got
Ready.
K, which I think is a tough sell, but we'll see how you do. All right, so 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Set in a futuristic Japan, you have these different kingdoms, so to speak, of different colored kings who have these magical powers. More like they can project flames and shoot fire and like kick ass, run really fast, and they have these different kingdoms. And essentially, it centers around this one person who's supposed to be the colorless king, the intermediary king between all kings. And for some reason, he gets wrapped up in a murder mystery plot where he's accused of killing another king's person or subject, whatever. And essentially, all the other kings are trying to kill him.
Oh, you're done, Aeroblip.
Okay. About how many episodes in are we right now?
Was it 9 episodes?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
And how many is this going to run for?
13.
Okay. So it's like 2/3 over at this point. How many kings are dead right now? Just you can tell me that without spoiling, right?
Well, none of the kings are dead. They're
2.
fighting, but they're not dead.
2.
Yeah.
The colorless king died, and the silver king just died.
No. Well, there's a lot of speculation. Like, that's kind of So there's one.
All right,
king
so
that
no
is
speculation there, but it's assumed, it's been broadcast that is the case. How about that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Is this something that looks like it's going to be resolved by episode 13?
Yes.
Huh.
It's got kind of that Lost style where things are revealed, but it's done at such a fast pace where eventually everything should wrap up.
It sounds like it has potential, but this is something
Ask me
I
more
will wait till
questions.
later to see whether I want to pick up or not. So, no points there.
Ooh,
Damn, I forgot to
so
mention the
still
hip hop
two.
too.
It's still 2-1.
Damn it.
All right.
So mine is Aikatsu. So this was my wild card pick for the night. So I have a feeling you probably won't like it just based on your questions earlier, but I'll give it a shot.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so 3, 2, 1. So Aikatsu is about two girls whose dream it is to become idols, singing idols, dancing idols, etc. So, aptly named, one is named Blue, one is named Red. They go to this school whose sole purpose is to train these girls to be idols. And it's a very uplifting, happy type show who's, it's all about feeling good, accomplishing your goals, and becoming something more than what you are. They go through different adventures, trials, and tribulations, but in the end, they always try to succeed and do their best. So it's a very uplifting, fun show, easy to watch. And I'm out of
Okay,
time.
question time. So how good is their syncing?
I would say it is.
Is it like typical Idol? Is it something, really good? How would you put it?
It's idle. I would say it's going to be CD grade, so to speak. They're probably going to bundle this when they're done and sell some sort of music from the show type thing. Who knows?
Is this Idol Master good?
I never watched Idol Master, so I can't tell you.
Damn it.
Okay.
But we'll get to that in a minute anyway.
Yeah, so you're right. It doesn't seem like my kind of show, but thanks for trying. 0 points.
Got it. Like I said, it was my wild one. All right, ready, Airblip?
I can wrap this up with a win right here.
You
could.
All right.
Zetsuen no Tempest. All right, so 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, Zetsuen no Tempest centers around essentially a clan of mages who break off into civil war. Both of them are trying to save the world, but they're kind of doing it two different conflicting ways. The story centers around two main characters who essentially somehow get wrapped up in all this and have magical powers. Magical powers, not beam spam, more like they can run really fast and kick ass. There's a lot of Hamlet for some reason, and the main character absolutely gives no fucks. He's willing to let the world die in order to achieve his purpose.
Time's up.
Okay. You mentioned Hamlet. Is this like, just elements from the Hamlet story or direct quotes or what?
Both.
Okay. Do they ever say "get thee to a nunnery"?
I'm not very good with Shakespeare, so I can't really say.
Okay, because that would be an automatic win. Okay. So this conflict between the mages, is it like a typical anime conflict? Is it something that could have been resolved if they just talked things out and understood each other? Like, how serious is their conflict, and how do you see it being resolved?
Okay, so I'm trying to do this with minimal spoilers as possible.
Okay.
Essentially, the clan of mages worships this god thing that created the earth. Sounds like religion, but it's not. And the thing is that one group of mages thinks that they need to obey this god thing because everything has been predetermined for a good purpose, for a better purpose. The other group of mages thinks that one of the gods is kind of corrupted, and so if that god were to have its way, the world would be destroyed, and they'd want to prevent the current world from being destroyed.
Okay, and is this the same sort of situation where it's like episode 9 out of 13?
Right now,
Yeah.
it is episode 9 out of 13, but they already confronted the main bad guy like 2 episodes ago.
Does it look like it's going to be resolved by the end of the season?
This is a currently ongoing story, but as far as this arc, it seems like it will be.
Okay, sure, I'll give it to you. 1 point.
That's all right. We'll finish this out then. So I'm going with my coup de grace. Well, it should have been my winning anime, but I'm already going to lose, so it doesn't matter. But I've got Girls und Panzer. All right, we ready, Aeroblip?
I'm ready.
All right, so 3, 2, 1. So Girls und Panzer is about a high school of all girls whose one of their after-school activities is to drive tanks. The show is great. There's lots of tank jargon. The girls have come from different aspects of the school to come together, fight in these tanks. They compete against other schools. What makes it even better is if you watch the commie subs, because they throw in some German in there to make it even more exciting. And even in the last episode, you hear real Russian singing going on of a patriotic song. It's lots of fun. No fan service per se, panty shots, and it's enjoyable. I'm out of time.
No fan service, you say? How old are these girls?
They're between freshmen and seniors, so they're all across all 3 years.
And no fan service.
No panty shots.
So it's not like, a tank version of Strike Witches or anything like that.
Nope. And actually, on a side note, the director makes it an everyday effort to have no panty shots.
I respect that. 1 point.
And definitely, if you're not watching, this is one show you have to pick up, by the way, if you're going to pick up any show. Even Aeroblip will agree with that.
This is perhaps one of my favorite shows of the year.
Yeah, I see a lot of other bloggers talking about it, so at least for the reason of...
I absolutely love the show. That's why I'm pissed at Joe, because he gets to talk about it.
All right, so your last one up there, Robotics Notes. You ready, Aeroblip?
I'm ready.
All right, go for it.
Okay, Robotics Notes center around these group of teenagers who are trying to build a giant robot, kind of like a Gundam. And what happens is that eventually one of the the main character gets mixed up in this huge conspiracy with JAXA, NASA, and apparently the theory that the sun is going to explode and kill everybody. Uh, right now, the main character is trying to find like the old notes left by a scientist who eventually picked up on this conspiracy, but who was eventually killed. And they're putting the pieces together, and they're building a giant robot, and there's NASA, and people are probably going to die soon.
All right, you're a little over time, but because you won, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay. So this is another one that actually I was planning on watching anyway. So this is like the same family as Steins Gate and Chaos Head and all that.
Yes.
It's like Nitro Plus, so it's like the same universe type of thing.
Uh-huh.
Yes, actually,
Yeah.
this series it comes right after Steins Gate, in terms of it's a few years afterwards. There's even some
Okay.
character crossover.
Now, one thing, by giant robot, do you mean like mecha or just, generic, just scientific, more engineering robot?
Mecha Gundam, like
Looks
Oh,
like
okay.
it's like a Gundam. Like there's a
So that
pilot
kind of giant
inside.
robot. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is something I was going to watch anyway, so yeah, +1. Winner, Aeroblip 4-2.
Hey, it's all good. That was a lot of fun though, trying to describe your favorite show in 30 or your show in 30 seconds.
I'm
So-
kind of surprised I got the point with Tempest. Not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
I'm kind of surprised too, but whatever. So, moving
there's
into a
only so
little
much I can
anime
hear in
talk
30 seconds.
business, Aeroblip.
What's up?
Said moving into a little anime talk business now.
Oh,
I lost
yes.
our fantasy football matchup, and the listeners voted on my punishment. I still think you took advantage, knowing that I was going to lose, but we'll let that slide.
You said yes.
I know I did. I'm a good sport. I'm a good sport. So my penalty appears to be I need to do an episodic blog of Idolmaster at some point.
At some point.
At some point, probably next year when things slow down a bit.
Mhm.
But that should be pretty easy. And probably what I'll have to do to convince myself to watch it is get my girls to watch it with me, because they're going to have to hold my hand and try to keep me awake as the show goes on.
It's not as bad as you think.
Yeah.
I
I
was
mean,
kind
I've
of
actually watched it, and yeah, it's not that bad.
Baka-Raptor gave it 1+. That's a good thing.
all right.
Did I? I thought I gave it a tilde, but I think I gave the
Oh,
OV.
did you? I thought. Oh, well.
Yeah,
my
but
bad.
I mean, the tilde, it's still not, the worst thing in the universe. You'll survive, but it will be punishment.
I was really surprised the Jossip on Deck thing didn't get more votes. That would seem to be more comical.
Fun thing about Joseph on Deck. A week after he debuted, Soldier Boy actually commented on his video.
Really?
Yeah,
Huh.
Soldier Boy's been known to watch anime, and he
So
actually he said his video was swag.
All right, that's funny. So expect next year. How many episodes is it?
It's 25, 26.
So I could
I'm not gonna make you watch the OVA. 25.
So I could probably stretch it out though over the entire year. Do one every other week.
Yeah.
Make it a year-long blogging experience. That might not be bad. We can probably figure it out. All right,
I mean,
guys.
the only reason why this won is because everyone on the blog watched it and loves it.
Yeah, I know. I'm outnumbered on my own blog. But hey, we're in final thoughts here. Baka-Raptor, any last words you want to throw our way?
Yeah. Well, let's see. Good job with you guys on the 30-second pitches. It's not always easy, and I'm going to take some of them into account. I wrote a whole post about this a while ago about why I generally don't watch currently airing anime, but I'm willing to give it another shot. And some of these shows, they sound pretty good. Others, you can tell me about them later if the 30 seconds really did it justice. But yeah, good job with that, you guys. And, I don't always update quickly, but hopefully I'll get a review of some of these out soon. And yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
It's always great to have fun guests. Aeroblip, any last thoughts?
Baka-Raptor is probably one of the coolest guests we've ever had on the show.
Awesome.
But besides that, nothing much. The latest Girls in Panzer was Wunderbar. I can say that. I'm surprised at this point that I never, in the beginning of the year, I don't think I would have gave the show a shot, but now I'm probably in consideration as anime of the year. It blew my mind that much.
Oh, that's funny. I
It's
would
sad, but it's funny.
yeah. So I agree with Aeroblip. It's a great show to watch. Also, I would go to Anime News Network and read that interview with Goto from Aniplex. I think it's really good stuff. I think it's good stuff that every anime fan should read. So
Hmm.
if you call yourself an anime fan, read this kind of stuff, get familiar with the market, and understand how your decisions affect your favorite shows.
And it's really quick too. It's like 3 minutes at
Yeah,
tops.
you can. Yeah. I could have my son read it. He'd be done in a few minutes. He's only 8, so. Anyways, thank you for watching as always. You can find this show and others at the blog. Also, we have a Twitter account associated with the blog now, so you can follow updates there as well. Same as the blog name, Anime Autolog. This podcast, as well as others, you can find in iTunes. We have Anime Talk. We also have the On the Clock podcast done by Kevo and Akira. Kevo from Desu and Akira from Moe Fundamentalism. Right? That's still his blog's name?
It's still up, yeah.
Oh, did he keep the same name? Yeah, he reopened it again. He's back to doing blogging. This video and others you can find at YouTube. Simple enough. And if you're interested in being somebody like Baka, where you come on, chat with us, have some fun, my email address is right there at the bottom of the screen. And just as kind of a side note, yep,
Oh,
a
okay.
couple weeks. What's that?
You're about to hit it. Never mind. I thought you forgot.
No, I didn't forget. About a week or so ago, we said we were looking for new full-time blog members to come join us, do stuff like this, create podcasts and stuff. We've already got a few applications in. We'd be happy to have a few more. See what you're made of. Go ahead and send me an email if you're interested in being a full-time member. Anything else, Aeroblip?
No, new Fabcast this week. That's it.
Yeah, check it out at Desu on Friday evening. Other than that, have a good night.
Peace.
Bye.